But did you guys hear about Dave Chappelle getting rolled by a bunch of high schoolers? So apparently Dave Chappelle went to his high school from like birth or whatever where he went as a kid, and he went there out of nowhere, right? And they had like an assembly for like the celebrity coming by. Now, for those of you who don't know this, Dave Chappelle actually, I believe, lives in my state. 1 second. Do you see? Is this an? I'm trying to figure out. No, so this, it's in Texas. Okay, but he lives currently in my state because I remember he supported the gubernatorial candidate Ben Jealous, who I also supported, and he canvassed for Ben Jealous. So at first I thought this was a Maryland story, but apparently it's an Ohio. Wait, it's an Ohio story? He lives in Ohio? So why was he supporting Ben Jealous? Because he grew up in DC? So he was born and raised in the DMV, and that's his ties to Maryland. Okay, we found it somewhere, okay? He went to this school, and while in that school, they had an assembly. And while that assembly was going on, some chaos went down. And he specifically basically got rolled by a bunch of students and started yelling at them and calling them like idiots, okay? So the first thing I'm going to say is they had to turn in all their phones before they went into the assembly. The reason why they had to turn in all their phones is they didn't want anybody recording what was going to happen in this meeting. Maybe it's because like Dave Chappelle didn't want somebody recording him talking, and so somebody would be encouraged to dunk on him or do something to him. But they went in and turned in their phones as if they were about to talk to the president of the United States when they're about to talk to a stand-up comedian, okay? So that's why there's no footage of this whatsoever, is because nobody like had their phone on them. And let's just read a little bit about this interaction because apparently it got a little chaotic. He does this every show. He never allows a phone. Yeah, but this is a school. This is a school assembly. Is that whatever? It's a little ridiculous to me. I mean, if this was like a random comedy show, I understand, but this is a school assembly. Dave Chappelle made a surprise stop by DC's Duke Ellington School. Hey, that's not too far from where I'm at. Of the arts on Tuesday in the latest chapter of the running saga with his alma mater. Alma mater? I can't spell at all. But if the self-proclaimed GOAT hoped to smooth things over amid the backlash over his jokes about transgender people, he was in for a surprise of his own. Dude, I gotta say, Gen Z does not screw around when it comes to trans people. Gen Z, definitely in this area, does not screw around with trans people. The amount of black trans women that were killed in DC and the amount of black trans women that were killed in my community, Prince George's County, like, nah, it's not an issue that Gen Z's, definitely not in Maryland and DC. They don't joke about that at all, man. It's not an issue you poke at if you want to get in good with Gen Z in this area. It's just not. Some 580 students packed into an auditorium to hear their school's most famous alumnus discuss the uproar triggered by his Netflix special, The Closer. With a camera crew in tow, Chapelle took the stage to a raucous reception of cheers and some boos, and the hour-long session went south from there, we're told. During a Q&A session, one student stepped to the mic and called Chapelle a bigot, adding, "I'm 16 and I think you're childish. You handled it like a child." According to two students present, the comments were confirmed by Chapelle's spokesperson, Carla. No apologies. Chapelle responded as recalled the next day by the students. "My friend, with all due respect, I don't believe you could make one of the decisions I have to make on a given day." Wait, so he basically just insulted the kids. So a kid's like, "Hey, Mr. Chapelle, I think you're a bigot. And I think you're acting childish." "Oh yeah, child? You think I'm acting childish? Well, I think you're a fucking idiot." So that's, okay, great. Yeah, he responded, "Ratio plus you fell off." Yeah, great response from the stand-up comedian towards a child in the school he cares about. Wouldn't the easy response here just be, "Hey, I understand your opinion and you're allowed to have that opinion, but let me explain to you the meaning of the words I said during that. Or let me tell you why I'm wrong." Not, "I don't believe you could make one of the decisions I have to make on a given day," which is a very weird way to insult a child, by the way. Which, I mean, he's not wrong. I doubt the 16-year-old could really understand like which multi-million-dollar contract to sign on any given day, but I mean that's not really a surprising. It's like telling like a 12-year-old who's like, "You're being mean." "Oh yeah? Well, I don't think you understand car insurance." Like, okay, Probably not, but I don't think that was the topic being discussed, but okay. Yeah, he tried to dunk on a bunch of high schoolers and ended up looking like Caitlyn Bennett. Pretty accurate, yeah. In response to another antagonistic question, Chapelle roughly told the student body of artists, I'm better than every instrumentalist artist, no matter what art you do in this school right now. I'm better than all of you. I'm sure that will change. I'm sure you'll be household names soon. Dude, he's getting criticized by children and his response is to just insult them. He's just bullying kids. By the way, you couldn't make the decisions that I make on a daily basis, okay? I'm better than everybody in chat. I make better content and do more work than every single person in my chat. Okay? Look, I'm just learning from the best. I'm just learning from the best, guys, okay? The kid was right. He is acting childish. Like, the student body of artists is like, hey, as the artists of the school, we disagree with what you're doing. Oh, yeah? Well, your trombone playing sucks. You suck, kid. You're never gonna make it in the big lights. He's punching down. It's not just that he's punching down, even. It's like he's punching down in the worst possible way. And this is supposed to be the crowd that, like, loves him, right? This is supposed to be his community in DC, right? Thanks for all the Prime Gamings, by the way, everybody. I really appreciate all the love tonight. It's just such a weird direction to punch. I don't understand why he's doing this. Why he's gonna tell a bunch of children that he's better than them. This is like wrestling heel supervillain behavior, right? We're in the arc where Dave Chappelle's gonna like start storing radiation in like a mountainside. This is just like random villainous behavior. Another student yells, your comedy kills. This is probably in like, like the idea of like, hey, the jokes you're doing normalizes transphobia. We can normalize violence or transphobia. That's probably what they're getting at, right? Chapelle shot back, N-words are killed every day. He then asked, the media's not here, right? Dude, what a piss poor answer. These are such easy questions and he's getting so mad. Dave Chappelle needs to learn to keep it 55th Street, man. Why is he getting so mad? These are easy questions to respond to. He could just be like, well, we can talk about pushing boundaries. Like, no, he's just like, nah, you know what? Black people killed every day. Media doesn't care about that. Trans person gets cared. Media cares. What's the problem? Like, why is he getting so angry at these children, man? This feels like easy responses. Your comedy kills isn't a question, though. It's a statement. You can still respond to a statement, right? Like, if someone said, Dylan, your platforming is terrible, I could still be like, well, here is why my platforming is responsible, right? Also, he didn't even reject the idea that his comedy kills. He just said black people are killed every day. Or, well, I would be more precise with my language, but, you know, I don't want to get into that debate on this platform, okay? I gotta follow normal theory. He didn't even disagree with it. He didn't even disagree with the statement. Anyway, let's keep going. The two students we spoke to declined to go on record out of fear of retribution for the school. The father of one of the students, who also declined to speak publicly to protect the identity of his daughter, said, as a parent, I have to say I have a real problem. He was being dead serious and you in the N-word on the record. What kind of judgment is the school showing to allow that? You know what? On God, to be honest, I feel like that's the least of my concerns. If I was a parent, I would just be mostly confused why this comedian, who, by the way, his job is to like make jokes and like you know, have these back and forths with people after releasing an extremely controversial special, would then get angry when children of a very progressive generation are not very receptive to his extremely controversial special. And instead of responding to it like a normal human being, he just starts telling the children he's better than them. My God. Sims, the Chapelle spokesperson, responded, they're complaining that he talked and said the N-word. If anything, Dave is putting the school on the map. Chapelle has raised, okay, look, okay? Putting the school on the map. I'm sure Chapelle has given the school a decent chunk of change and stuff. I'm sure Chapelle has done good things for the school. But if I go to school, if I go to like, I don't know, some charity, like the Ronald McDonald House for the Homeless or whatever it is, I don't really know what they do, and I give them $20, that doesn't mean I can start walking up to the children, grabbing them by the neck and saying, you're worthless, right? You gotta, like, you giving money or doing a good thing here does not give you like free reign to do whatever you want to children, okay? Chapelle has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for Duke Ellington and bought A-list celebrities such as Bradley Cooper and Chris Tucker to its campus. The two students who spoke the playbook said they were afraid to speak up at the assembly because Chapelle often laughed at students' questions or responded with jokes. At one point, after a student left the assembly room, Chapelle singled her out by saying, "Of course she left early." Sims said that person couldn't even entertain the idea of a conversation. Some students were equally put off by Chapelle. "He could tell we were nervous," said one of the students we spoke with. "It was a huge power imbalance of this grown man and his camera crew, and these 14 to 18-year-olds without their phones, just high school kids, students, had to lock their phones in special pouches," this is what I was talking about earlier, "beforehand to prevent recordings." Dude, what are these children gonna do to you? What are they gonna do with recordings of you talking to Duke Ellington, okay? Look, I gotta say, I don't think it was some elaborate plot for like Dave Chappelle to be able to bully kids, but having all the kids put their phones in like special pouches or a basket, whatever the fuck, before they're allowed to go to Chappelle while he's speaking in front of in this like big auditorium out of basically nowhere, right? And then he proceeds to just rag on these children, right? It is pretty sus. Discount's diagnosis says it really puts the lie to his comment at the end of his special. "I'm done telling jokes about you until I can be sure we're laughing together." Sounds more like pedantic vengeance in the form of weaponized jokes. He's acting exactly like the terminally online lefty dumbasses, minus the politics or theory. I don't know, man. I just think he needs to get thicker skin. It's so weird to have somebody who for like the last like I don't know how long was just going after all these man, this trans community is just getting too offended, man. This is crazy. Everybody's too offended. I'm being canceled. If this is what being canceled's like, it's great. And then a child says, "I don't like your jokes and I think you're a bigot." And he just goes off the handle. Like, I feel like he needs thicker skin, you know? Definitely as a comedian. I don't understand it, man. A spokesperson for the school said that about 8 students came forward to ask questions. During the conversations with students and wait, you mean he flipped out this month's... Wait, back the fuck up. He flipped out this much, and he only took 8 questions? If Dave Chappelle started a Twitch channel, he would get banned in like an hour. There's no way he'd be able to keep his cool. It's impossible. If all it took was 8 questions for him to get this angry at a bunch of kids, he needs to not get in my industry, man. My God. Sounds like Dave Chappelle would have a good debate with CTV. Oh my God. I'd make it. I'd book that. During the conversations with students and staff, Chappelle specifically invited the voices of discontent to ask questions. However, as a result, the supporters of Chappelle became the silent majority, said Duke Ellington spokesperson. "Our principal was approached by several students after the assembly who were disappointed that they were not able to voice their support for Chappelle in this forum. No hard feelings." According to the students, Chappelle seemed to soften up as he wound down. Turning to the camera, he spoke out against death threats some students have received since protesting him. The school has responded. Wait, they got death threats for... dude. I mean, it's good that he spoke out against it, right? Be careful, Chappelle. That'd get you in a lot of trouble. I should know. School has responded by increasing security and barring students from leaving the campus for lunch. His whole tone changed, one of the students said. He said, "This is my family, and whether they know it or not, I love these kids. I don't want to hear about any threats to kids. These kids don't deserve that." He was really kind, the student added. "If only he had acted that way the whole time. There was no reason to be mean to us. He was just laughing at kids." A parting gift. Sims said Chappelle was expecting forgiveness from students, not to offer an apology of his own. The school postponed an event to name its theater after him amid concerns about students' reaction to the special. He said these kids deserve an F for forgiveness. What? The kids have to forgive Chappelle? Dude, what? Okay, number one, okay? If a bunch of kids hated me, I would not care, okay? If I'm completely honest. It would depend on why they hated me. But if they hated me for a reason that I thought was silly, right? Like I tied my left shoe before my right shoe, then I would not care. Why is he seeking the, a forgiveness from children? Whatever, man. But give them some space to grow. They are going to say things that are immature. On his way out, Chappelle gave 3 tickets to each of the students for the screening of his documentary, Untitled, at Capital One Arena that night, and 600 Thanksgiving meals for students and staffs. Man, that's crazy, man. I mean, like, it's good that he gave money to the school. It's a great school. I'm happy that he gave it money, right? Blobkiss, thanks for the gift to tier 1, right? It's cool that he gave Thanksgiving meals. He's cool he gave him all this stuff, right? But why did he have to be dogging on these children? Like, if you were specifically like, I want the people who disagree to me to speak up, then they speak up, and then you're this thin-skinned. Number one, why'd you do this in the first place? Why'd you ask for the people who disagreed with you to speak up? And number two, these are literal children, man. Hey there, you little dumb shit. Have 20 bucks. Bill Burr over Dave Chappelle. I've never found Dave Chappelle funny. And this isn't like a new development. And it's not that I don't like offensive comedians. I love Norm Macdonald, okay? I love Bill Burr. I just never found Dave Chappelle funny. Like, I watched the Chapelle show. I watched some episodes of it. Never found it funny. I don't know if there's just something wrong with me. Or if it's something wrong with Chappelle. I never liked his old stuff. Never liked his recent or his new stuff. Like, I don't know. Just not my type of comedian. I just like a drier type humor, I think. My humor is very dry, right? Like, if you would have asked me my favorite streamer, the answer to that would actually be Jay Schlatt.